Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Computer America show. Tonight, our pre-show here on our Google Hangouts live video stream. It's going to be an interesting show tonight. Intel is going to be here, be talking about the new Compute Stick and their mini PC NUC computer. These are two amazing computers, very, very small. One of them looks like a USB stick. It is a pre-recorded show. We recorded the show on Monday.
2 minutes until showtime.
But so you can sit back, relax, enjoy the show. I'll be here live in a chat room and in Google Hangouts, our live Computer America video stream. So, and Ben will be here shortly as well. But the first hour is recorded, but it is a brand new show. We recorded it on Monday afternoon. So enjoy it. And we will continue on in the second hour with the live show, Computer and Technology News, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Enjoy the show.
One minute until showtime. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we got a great show planned for you tonight. In the second hour of the program, we're going to have Computer and Technology News, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. But tonight, it's our Intel Sponsor Hour. That's right, Intel is here with us. Now, each month, Intel joins us here at Computer America to discuss a variety of subjects on what Intel is doing in the consumer world of computing. Now, tonight, we have a special treat for you. We have two guests from Intel, Dan Snyder and John Dethridge. Dan Snyder is Intel's Technology PR Manager, and John Dethridge is Intel's Marketing Director. They are both here to discuss Intel's Compute Stick and Intel's next unit of computing, or the Intel NUC. Dan and John, welcome into Computer America. How are you, gentlemen?
Doing fine, thanks.
Great, thank you.
All right, well, we're so glad to have you here. Some exciting news coming out of Intel, as there is always, but there's so many things to talk about, but we're going to focus on two of the products that have been recently introduced by Intel. And I'm going to start off with John Dethridge with this, and we're going to kind of focus first on the Compute Stick. You know, I've been hearing about this cool new device, you know, that Intel created called the Compute Stick. There are a lot of products coming out in stick form these days, you know? So why don't you tell us what the Intel Compute Stick actually is?
You betcha. Thanks, Craig. So the Intel Compute Stick is a new form factor product that's being taken to market by Intel's Channel Innovation and Solutions Division. So our division is focused on feeding new products and new product categories out into the marketplace through Intel's channel. And our legacy is Intel desktop motherboards. I don't know if you're familiar, but we used to make a lot of Intel motherboards for the desktop computer form factors. And over the years, we have pushed form factors smaller and smaller. If you're familiar with desktop systems, we started with ATX systems many, many years ago, and then we shrunk those down to micro ATX, and then we went to mini ITX, and then mini ITX. We pushed the barriers a little bit with a form factor called NUC that we'll talk about, I think, later on in our discussion. But what we're bringing to market now is basically full compute capability in a stick form factor. So the stick measures about 4 inches long by about 1.5 inches wide by about 1/2 inch thick, okay? And you take the stick and you plug it into a TV or any monitor that has an HDMI port on it, and you turn that TV or monitor into a fully functioning PC. First couple products that we're going to be taking to market will be based on the Atom quad-core processor from Intel. And there'll be a couple different configurations of storage. We'll have a 32 gig version and an 8 gig version, and a couple configurations of memory, a 2 gig and a 1 gig version. And they'll have OSs pre-installed, so you'll have a Windows version and a Linux version.
Wow. That's amazing.
And so basically,
I'm impressed that you're able to get, 2 gigs doesn't sound like a lot of RAM nowadays, but in that small of a form factor, like you can look at, sticks of RAM, and sticks of RAM for a desktop computer are bigger than the entire computer you're fitting into the small form factor. So 2 gigs is crazy impressive for such a small space.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, basically what you'll be able to do is get, a full functioning computer out of, by plugging that stick into the TV or monitor of your choice. Okay. And so we'll start shipping this product in the next week, actually. And we'll have a couple different flavors, as I mentioned before, a Windows flavor and a Linux flavor. And so basically, there are a number of different markets out there that we think would like this super small form factor of compute device.
Wow. So basically, the Intel Compute Stick is a full-fledged computer in a pocket-sized device. That is
true.
Now,
yes.
Can you explain a little bit how consumers would use the Compute Stick, Jonathan?
You bet. Yeah. So, say I bought a TV a couple of years ago, and I enjoy, what my cable provider can give me on that TV, but I might feel like I'm somewhat limited on the types of things I can do with my cable provider. There's a lot of different channels to choose from, and there's pay-per-view, and there's a fairly rich set of options for me. But if I also enjoy internet content or want to be doing things I could do on a large screen, like emails and browsing and maybe social media, from the 10-foot experience level, I could then, take that TV and turn it into a super smart TV by plugging the Intel Compute Stick into it. So basically, I would take it out of the box. I would plug it into an HDMI port. I would power it off the wall. And then it would boot. Basically, the Windows version obviously would boot to Windows 8.1 with Bing. And so at that point in time, using a wireless, Bluetooth type of keyboard mouse controller, I could, from a 10-foot point of view, I could basically turn my TV into a full computer. Another usage we see around the home for consumers also would be is, I've got a monitor sitting around that's, collecting dust. It's not really doing anything. And I'm on the market for an entry-level PC. Instead, I could buy an Intel Compute Stick and plug it into that monitor and basically turn that monitor into a fully functioning PC at a very affordable price point. So, we kind of see the second, third, fourth PC in the home as an opportunity. We believe a lot of people have monitors that are potentially unused. And then we also see that opportunity probably first and foremost of taking a TV and taking the dumb or pseudo smart TV and turning it into a super smart TV.
Wow.
So those are kind of the main usages we see in the home.
All right. So let me ask you this. Would the Intel Compute Stick replace a computer or tablet in the home, or would we use it in addition to a computer and a tablet?
I think we've done actually a few early studies on this, and our initial thought is a majority of people who would use this would actually buy this in addition to what they already have. And what we're believing people want to do is do some emails, do some surfing, do some social media, watch some YouTube, basic type of functionality, on a big screen. And we don't believe that the tablet that you have, or the notebook, or the smartphone, or even the desktop system in your house has that same experience. And so, and once again, the affordable price point is key here, right? If the MSRP on this is around $150 or so, we believe that for the most part, it would be an additional product that would be used in the home for the consumer usage.
Wow, that is amazing. What would you do for storage? I mean, or for other peripherals? If I want to
Great question. Yeah, so there is some level of expandability here, okay? So as I mentioned before, we have a version that's got 32 gigs of storage on it, but you load that with Windows, and that's going to be almost half of your storage right there, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's also a micro SD slot in these compute sticks, and micro SD will give you another 128 gigs or so of storage capability on that form factor of SSD card, and so that's one possibility. Another possibility is there's a full USB port on the compute stick, and you could potentially even hook up a USB drive to the compute stick. That would also give you another opportunity of storage.
Could I use I have a cloud computing setup? Could I use a cloud disk storage? Or
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so there's Wi-Fi on there. Yeah, absolutely. So you could hook up to the cloud using cloud storage through your Wi-Fi connection as well.
And as most printers today are Wi-Fi enabled anyway, so I guess I could also print to my printer without any kind of physical connection too.
Yeah. My printer at home, for example, it's Wi-Fi capable, and you're right. Even the most affordable printers today are Wi-Fi capable. So yeah, I mean, basically, as you can see, it would really fit in a very affordable way of fitting into the home, and the expandability and the communications capability to really seamlessly be inserted into your home environment.
I mean, making it sound like I'm all set. I got my storage printer. I'm all set for $100 or so with an Intel Compute Stick. I mean, can you imagine let's say my kids say, "Hey, Dad, I want a computer." I go out and get them a Compute Stick. They plug it in their TV set, and they're off and running.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, that is true.
Yeah, what an affordable situation, especially for households that need more than one computer. And in today's most households, they do.
Oh, and sorry if I'm making you repeat yourself, but the operating system running on this?
Windows and Linux.
Yeah, so there are two different versions, and maybe I'll just make it a little bit more clear here because I kind of intermingled the features between the two. And so I'll kind of walk through each of the two, okay? So our Windows version will be running on an Intel Atom quad-core processor. It'll have 32 gigs of storage and 2 gigs of memory. on it. Okay, and then there'll be a Linux version. Okay, and that'll have 8 gigs of storage and 1 gig of memory on it. And so obviously it'll also be running off that same Intel Atom quad-core processor. And so obviously the Linux version will be more affordable, have a lower price point, and would fit in well with the markets that value the Linux operating system. There are consumers out there for their home theater PCs that prefer Linux, and I think we can probably talk a little bit about business usage here in a minute as well, where we think the Linux operating system is also highly valued. All the other features that we're talking about here, your HDMI connector into the monitor or TV, that 2.0, that USB port, the full USB port, the micro SD slot, the wireless and Bluetooth, those are all on both of the products. The size of the product is going to be the same in either case. 4 inches by about 1.5 inches by about a 1/2 inch thick. Okay. And so the main difference between the two is going to be the OS that's pre-installed, the storage, and the memory.
Now, we talked about several different types of consumers. You mentioned home theater. I mentioned, kids or kids in school. If you had to focus down as to what type of consumer would find the Compute Stick most useful, who would you say that would be?
Well, I think it's going to be pretty broad, actually. I don't think, for example, the consumer has to be that technology savvy. I think home theater usage is going to be more tech savvy, but I think that, second or third PC in the home, it doesn't require you to be very tech savvy to get that type of computer up and running. Home theater PC may require a little bit more tech savvy just to get that TV functioning as a PC from an entertainment perspective, getting the right things, streaming, getting the right services hooked up. It would require a little bit of knowledge on how to get my TV to function as a home theater PC. But I think for the person buying the stick for the second or third PC in the home to get something up and running, maybe in the kid's bedroom for school. Doesn't really require a lot of tech savvy at all. It's pretty plug and play.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, so again, Dan Snyder is here, Intel's technology PR manager. Although you wouldn't know, he's so quiet. And
yeah, for me to be quiet for 20 minutes is pretty rare,
And John Dethridge, Intel's marketing director here. Right now, we're focusing on the Compute Stick. And again, John, you mentioned you would consumers, but what about businesses?
Yeah.
Would the Intel Compute Stick be useful to businesses also? And if so, how would it be used?
Yeah, we think so. And we think there are a number of business usages where it would be highly valued. We kind of touched on one that you could, kind of as a tweener between business and consumer, and that's education. We think the Compute Stick would have a great usage model in education environment. The Compute Stick could be plugged into a bunch of monitors at the school to basically upgrade or update a school lab. If you go into school labs today, there are a lot of desktop towers in those labs, and the noise, it can be noisy and hot, right? With 30, 40 PCs all running at the same time. And so imagine being able then to, put Compute Sticks into each of the monitors in a lab. The acoustic and thermal improvement in that room would be really night and day. And so school labs would be, I think would value a product like this. But, the student could potentially, this is portable, obviously enough, where a student each student could be issued one of these, and they could use it at school, maybe in the lab, and then take it home. And obviously, the get lost factor is something that needs to be factored in as far as the age of the student and such. But imagine being able to, very easily take your, computer back and forth between school and home. So we think there's certainly an education play here. Digital signage, though, is another area where we believe there's a lot of value. Today, if you go to airports or hotels or fast food joints, I tend, maybe not everybody does this, but I tend to kind of look at how everything's hooked up. And I'll be in airports and look in the back and see a micro ATX tower hanging off a monitor, right?
Don't let the TSA people catch you doing that.
I know. Actually, I kind of look around a little bit before I do that because yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I'll just glimpse up there, but imagine how easy it would be to roll a truck and install your computer into that monitor to turn it into a digital sign with a compute stick, versus hanging a large desktop tower off the back of a monitor. Imagine how easy it would be to maintain that sign too if there were an issue, just unplugging one stick and putting the other one in and then going and repairing that stick that might have a problem. Those things are all very much valued by vendors who do the installations on digital signage, whether it's an airport, a hotel, a fast food joint, doctor's offices, so on and so forth. They look at a product like this and they go, this can do digital signage. Digital signage is normally not a heavy CPU intensive type of usage. And they look at this and they go, yeah, an Atom quad-core processor could do the job. It's got enough storage and memory to do what I need it to do. There's a way, there's ways I can remotely push things down to it, so I can change what the sign says. And if there are ever issues with it, I could probably even train the somewhat savvy personnel on site to actually fix an issue without rolling a truck. So they look at something like this and go, wow, this would be perfect for signage. Kiosks are similar to signs, interactive customer kiosks and post offices and in airports and hotels. That would be another area where you could literally hide the compute technology in the actual kiosk to where it's not even obvious where the computer is, right? It's a little trap door or something. You unlock it, you put the compute stick in, you lock it back up again. It's secure and it's doing everything you need it to do from a kiosk point of view. Thin client is another type of usage that we think this could work very well in. Oftentimes, thin clients are valued in office type of environments, like a call center or enterprise services, where you don't really want the computer to leave the premises. You could lock this into the monitor and line up all the monitors in a call center or in a financial services type of environment, to where once again it's not noisy, it's not hot, and you've got all your computers up and running.
Yeah, Dan,
so those are some of the business usages we're looking at.
Dan, anything else you want to add to what John's saying here?
Yeah, so from my perspective, being the guy that works with all the press and does a lot of the sampling programs and everything, I'll just say, I've never seen the interest from the press. John, you'd probably agree, from all the motherboard days and things on this product. It's just a very hot area, and to basically get a full PC computing experience for less than $150 with Windows, that is the size of your thumb. It's pretty miraculous if you think about it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
One thing that I really like about technology is not so much what you can do today, but what does it mean for 3 or 4 years down the road. And let's face it, if you have computers the size of thumb drives, that might just make thumb drives obsolete eventually, because why would you have just storage when you could have an entire computer in place of just storage?
Yeah.
And it's not only is it more secure, but it's obviously much more powerful. You just need a monitor. It's very, very, very cool technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening here, right? Sorry to interrupt, just real quick. So, the technology keeps shrinking down, and as it shrinks down, you go, hey, I've got this die space. I'm going to absorb other components in the system, and you've seen Intel absorb graphics engines and memory controllers and all that, right? And you're going to continue to see that into these systems on a chip, like we call them, right? And as you do that, all of a sudden your form factor it can get amazingly small, right? And the only thing that we've got to figure out is the thermals, right? So obviously, putting a Core i7 in a stick, we may not be quite there yet, just due to physics and such, right? But you get still scalable performance even in these small form factors that get you good enough performance and comparative to what you could get 4 years ago, amazing performance. I agree with you. Just imagine what we can do 4 or 5 years from now as we continue this trend.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I have to ask you this question: are there other devices like compute sticks for sale? And if so, what would be the difference between the Intel compute stick and other compute sticks in the market?
Yeah, and I think you already touched on during the intro section, you talked about a lot of stick form factor products out there. And so there's really kind of a delineation, and then I'll get in more into the compute stick, into it's between streaming sticks and what we would call compute sticks, right? So the streaming sticks are things like the Chromecast or the Roku's that are out there, right? And those are $35, $40, right? And you plug those into your TV and it'll stream stuff, and it'll run the apps that are included,
Sure.
by the provider, right? And actually, if you have a smart TV, you may already have all that functionality already built into the TV. But if you don't, you get at least that, right? Obviously, Compute Stick is going to the next step and basically saying, I'm getting the full open architecture compute experience with a Compute Stick that I don't get with those streaming sticks.
Okay.
And yeah, we're seeing other Compute Stick products come into the marketplace now. What I would initially say the distinction would be between an Intel version and a non-Intel version there's a couple things. So first of all, as I mentioned at the beginning of our call, we're the channel organization at Intel. And so we believe we have a good channel engine that lets us get our Compute Stick, logistics-wise, anywhere in the world. So we have the reach with our channel engine. We believe we have high quality standards for anything that we hang the Intel brand on. We believe we have great support. We have our call centers that are out there across the globe, speaking in 20, 30 different languages, able to meet customer needs as they come in. So we stand behind the quality and support that Intel can bring for the Intel Compute Stick, maybe versus other brands that are out there. So those are kind of the main things that we would distinct in the Compute Stick category.
Well, Intel, let's face it, Intel hasn't traditionally sold products directly to consumers or included memory, storage, or an operating system in its products. So why is that being done for the Intel Compute Stick?
Well, I think I mentioned at the beginning of this call that the group I work with at Intel has kind of a legacy of driving new form factors into the marketplace. And we also talked about things getting smaller and smaller. You reach a certain point in small where configurability is not practical anymore. We'll talk about the NUC in a minute, and that's still got some degree of configurability. But with Compute Stick, I can't imagine opening this thing up and upgrading the memory or the processor or the storage, right? Certainly could hang things off the USB port and plug things into the SD slot, right? But we're driving new category here, and we believe there's a lot of value to Intel doing that, and that's really our focus here is getting out there first to get this category going, and really don't see an option other than shipping this product as fully configured, right? Right.
Now that makes perfect sense. You mentioned Google earlier, and you mentioned the Chromecast, but Google's got something they call the Chromebit product, and is that the same kind of device as Intel's Compute Stick?
Well, I think it's similar. It's obviously going to be using the Chrome OS versus Windows or Linux, like we've mentioned before. And I think the Chrome OS is a fine OS for certain types of usages. I think Google's made nice strides into the education segment, for example, with Chrome OS. Mm-hmm. And over time, we would certainly love to create a version of ComputeStick that does support the Chrome OS and could become an Intel Chrome bit, so to speak. We're always okay to support OS options out there, and we would certainly be okay doing that with a Chrome OS based system as well.
Yeah, I think you made a great step, because a lot of these smaller form factor computers, they're being used in like home projects by people who want a small computer. Maybe they want to control their pool pump, maybe they want to set up some kind of system for their front door. These nice little projects, and these smaller computer form factors are really great. What was it kind of like a tip of the hat to the do-it-yourselfers that you put Linux on, or was Linux just a natural solution for this type of computer?
I think a little of both. So I absolutely think the do-it-yourselfers and the home theater enthusiasts prefer Linux, and that was kind of our initial market study on which OSs should we support to begin with. And Windows kind of felt like the most common consumer OS that the average consumer would just be comfortable with and familiar with. And Linux kind of felt like the natural first OS of choice for the enthusiast and DIY community, and also we believe the business, a lot of the business usages like digital signage, for example. And so those were kind of the first two OSs we chose. It's not that we're limiting ourselves to only ever doing those two OSs, but you got to start somewhere, and we felt like those were a good starting point for us to get a couple of our first products out into the market.
Wow. So can you tell us when the Intel ComputeStick product will actually be available, John?
Yeah, absolutely. So we start shipping next week. So we've got been shipping a few samples out there, and we're turning on our mass production engine, and we'll be going into high volume manufacturing next week, and we'll start shipping it, basically across the globe through our distribution network, worldwide.
Excellent. All right, listen, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a little quick commercial break, and then we'll come back. Ben and I are talking to Intel, Dan Snyder, Intel's Technology PR Manager, and John Deathridge, Intel's Marketing Director here. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Intel NUC as we continue on our Intel Sponsor Hour here on Computer America. Stay with us.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-3-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's the fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Here we go again. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the GLLS EdgeLit LED Light Board. Green LED Lighting Solutions Synthesis Standard Sample EdgeLit LED Light Board, a small square panel as thin as foam core board. That's stuff you use at Science Fair exhibit. The sample has a row of 9 LEDs on one side, lighted at 3200 degrees Kelvin, which is fairly warm white, and on the opposite edge, another 9 at 5300, which is getting close to daylight. It has an opaque back and a grid of small optics within the back face to spread the light from those emitters more or less evenly across the surface. So effectively, it makes the entire square a light source. EdgeLit LED displays derive from the EdgeLit micro lens panels that are backlights to monitors and notebooks and other displays. Most residential applications today tend to be shelf or counter or accent lights, but we expect them to become part of general room lighting once consumers learn about good ways to deploy them. Even the sample panel we got would be effective in lighting a cupboard, under a desk, as a keyboard light, inside a rack cabinet, or other places where thin, flat, and bright offer a welcome combo. Bottom line, the Green LED Lighting Solutions EdgeLit LED Lightboard sample gives us a hands-on, eyes-on view of what we see to be a major coming trend in lighting. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 34 minutes past the hour. That was Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review. Thank you for that. And we have Intel here with us, and Dan Snyder and John Deathridge here, both from Intel. And we just finished up with the Compute Stick. It sounds like it's going to be hitting stores sometime next week, and definitely keep an eye out for it. If you see it, point it out and say, "Hey, I heard about that." And but in this next half hour, we have an entirely different topic to talk about, and that is apparently the NUC. So let's talk about another really innovative device that Intel has come out with, the Intel Next Unit of Computing, or NUC. What is the NUC?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is John again, and I'll talk to you a little bit about the product line. So some people call it Nuke, some people call it NUC, and so you hear different pronunciations of it. But as you mentioned before, it's an acronym in UC that stands for Next Unit of Computing. And the whole genesis of this form factor came about 3-4 years ago. We were doing some brainstorming with our engineers, and I think I mentioned on our previous conversation that our legacy is desktop motherboards, and we challenged our engineers to come up with at that time the smallest possible motherboard that would be fully scalable from an Atom processor up to a Core i7 processor. And they came back to us with a 4x4 form factor, so that's 4 inches by 4 inches, that we launched about 2.5 years ago. It was late 2012 that we launched it, and basically have seen a very large amount of success on this. And so basically what we launched at the time was a Core i3 Ivy Bridge version of the NUC. We're going to be end-of-lifing those first units later this year. And we started seeing a lot of traction. And so the product that we're going out to the market is that we've got different types of versions here. So they basically have we call a kit version, that is the motherboard with the processor attached. These are mobile processors that are attached to these motherboards on the 4x4 form factor with SO-DIMM slots and either PCIe or now today M.2 slots for your storage, and a chassis, and then a power brick. And so we ship these kits out into our marketplace. Customer would buy the kit, finish off the integration. So these are not fully configured systems. They're what we might call bare bones or L6 type configurations. And then, finish off the configuration with memory, storage, OS, and then basically run those systems in a number of different ways. Basically, the main objective here, once again, was to get a fully scalable, compute performance experience in a small form factor as possible. And at the time, NUC was it, 4x4. Seen a number of success stories across the consumer and commercial segments. In fact, we've even formed a couple of roadmaps. We have a consumer roadmap that we're carrying today and a commercial roadmap. So kind of summary, we've been shipping products for 2.5 years. It's getting fairly mature. It's a product that we believe has helped establish a category that we call mini PC. That is now being proliferated not only by the Intel NUC, but by a lot of other different options from ODM and OEM partners of Intel.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, and again, I mean, we're starting to see a lot of these little tiny computers, obviously the Intel stick, but why don't you explain a little bit more about the Intel NUC and exactly how it works?
Yep. Okay. So if I'm a customer, I would buy an Intel NUC, and I would basically out of the box, I would need to take the bottom lid off, and then I would, along with that NUC, I would need to buy SO-DIMM memory and an SSD storage type of device. And I would need to, have an OS lined up for it as well. So I would take it out of the box. I would open it up. I would put the SO-DIMM memory into the memory slots and the SSD into a mini PCIe or M.2 slot. Close the product back up again, and install my OS, and then I would be off and running, with my system. If I'm a consumer, that system might be a nice home theater PC running off of an Atom or Celeron type of processor. It might be a more sophisticated home entertainment system or home hub type system running off of a Core i3 or Core i5 type of processor. More recently, we're now launching our Core i7 first Core i7 NUCs that could potentially even be used by gamers that want to have a gaming experience on a small form factor PC that they could take to LAN parties or take along with them from point A to point B. It might not be their main gaming machine, but it would be a machine that could run most games fairly well and easy to move around to friends' houses or to gaming events, that type of thing. So go ahead.
So you're saying it's very, very small. I mean, like a little rectangular shape type of thing?
Yeah. Words are hard. Yeah, it's hard to describe in words. But 4 inches by 4 inches by about an inch high. In fact, the latest versions based on Broadwell are 29 millimeters, right? So just barely over an inch in thickness, and very small. Yes.
Okay. So you
mentioned
the
volumetrics on that is the smaller. So we have different main varieties. We've got one that will take SSD only, and then we've got a taller version that'll take a 2.5-inch drive. The volumetrics on the smaller one is less than half a liter for those people that relate to volumetrics. Wow,
that is absolutely incredible. You said that the Intel NUC is customizable, and you started getting into a little bit of that. Can you get into some more details about in ways that it's customizable specifically?
Yeah. So, as far, maybe as far as the amount of memory and storage and such, right? So I could put up to 16 gigs of memory in it, right? I could put a terabyte of storage on it, right? And so, the configuration range is quite high. I would have another I/O slot maybe for a Wi-Fi or or a 3G type of module or something like that. So you got a couple slots to play with on some of these NUCs. I/O wise, off the front, you're usually going to have at least 2, if not 3, video ports. Like I say, we carry a roadmap, so those video ports are going to range from HDMI to DisplayPort to possibly VGA. You're going to have up to 4 USB ports off the front and back. You're going to have your audio jacks. You're going to have IR receiver for remote control type capability. So, it's not, your full ATX tower with tons and tons of I/O, but we believe it's a sufficient amount of I/O and video interfaces to give yourself a lot of flexibility on your configurations. Obviously, there's LAN jacks on all these as well to hook up to wired Ethernet.
I'm listening to you list all these different ways you can customize it. And all right, I know we keep going to this, that the desktop computer is going to fade into the background because we're seeing more. They said first with tablets was going to do it. Well, tablets aren't going to do it, but the more and more I hear about these full, rich computers that are little more than 4 inches in size, and they have all this expandability, it's getting more and more hard-pressed to find a justification for having a desktop computer. I mean, look at all this stuff.
Oh, that hurts. As a desktop user, that hurts.
Well, this is a desktop computer, right? So, I think you look at desktop computers and there's a few areas that are still actually growing. Small form factor is one of them, all-in-ones, and in the enthusiast and gaming spaces, I believe you're seeing pretty decent growth on desktop computers as well. But that is the path right now, is to unclutter and still get the performance, and that's really a key here. People look at a small little box like the NUC and they go, "Oh, well, that's a single function thing. It can't possibly have the performance, that I need or that I have with my 4-year-old tower that's sitting on my desk," right? And I think people are amazed when they power the thing up to understand that today's technology, absolutely lets you get very decent and reasonable performance, off of a super small form factor computer. And all the performance that you were probably getting off of a system that's 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, a lot of people, like Ben, for example, he's one of our gamer here. He loves to customize his computer and add different components to it and make it look fancy. But I heard you mention that consumers can interchange the lid for more features or even use a different chassis. Can you tell Computer America listeners more about this option?
Yeah. I probably didn't do that justice. So, I talked about unscrewing the bottom and putting your memory and storage in. But another thing you can do now on current generation is you could the top, which comes in black today from Intel. You can buy the kit from Intel with a black top, but you can take that lid off, and it's very easy to create, if you have access to a 3D printer especially, to create a customized lid that maybe has your look and feel. In addition, though, even more powerful than the cosmetic aspect of a replaceable lid on the new generation of NUC is the functional aspect. So now I have access through that the opening that I've created by taking that lid off to a couple headers that are on the NUC board, like a USB header and an NFC header. Where I could put a functional, put a functional lid on that NUC. Maybe it is an NFC function where I could do, a parent share type of scenario through near field communications. maybe I do a lid that gives me more USB or serial ports, depending on my usage, where I'm saying, hey, 4 USB ports isn't good enough. I need more of them. You could expand the I/O capability of the NUC through a lid that you would replace, the one I bought it with this lid, but I'm putting this new replaceable lid on that expands my functionality.
Sure.
And so lots of opportunities there. We make the drawings available to the public, so anybody who wants to could mod up their own lid and have a lot of fun with it that way as well.
You're listening to John Dethridge, who is Intel's marketing director, talking about the Intel NUC. Also here with us is Dan Snyder. He is Intel's technology PR manager. Do you have a NUC, Dan, yourself, or have you been playing with one lately?
Actually, it's funny you should ask. Sitting here in my home office, I just got one of the 5th Gen Core Broadwell NUCs, John, one of the Rock Canyon models, and I'm pretty blown away at just how simple and convenient and fast, and it's full windows, and it's great. It's great for small form factor, if you don't have a lot of space, especially, and it's incredibly quiet. It has a small fan, but you almost never hear it because you're not, unless you're doing really intensive computing type stuff. So it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, you think, what kind of consumer should consider buying the Intel NUC? You think it would replace your desktop PC? Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I got to admit, so I do some specialty stuff and I have a full-blown desktop tower. I do, and we've talked about this on your show before, some kind of high-end audio recording and some video stuff that if you need any kind of specialty PCI Express cards, the gamers, obviously, for the real high-end gaming are going to use the NVIDIA and AMD high-end cards. You can't do that in the NUC solution. But really for most of the everyday tasks and all of your casual gaming and email and social media and streaming media and video audio, it's really great, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what about businesses, John? I mean, would the Intel NUC benefit businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we've got a couple years of experience under our belt with the NUC, and I can kind of talk to you about a few different areas that we've seen the NUC selling. The digital signage is certainly an area where it's very easy to connect the NUC on the back of a monitor. In fact, we ship the NUC with a VESA mount bracket, and so VESA is it's a standard. Sure. Where if you look on the back of a monitor, you're going to see those holes there, and so our VESA mount bracket will match up with those holes. And so the idea is it makes it very easy for a digital signage vendor to hook it up to the back of a monitor. Mm-hmm. We're seeing a lot of customers, business customers, actually purchase not our kit, but the board. And so there is an option on some of our SKUs where you could just buy the board with the processor attached to it and the various slots that I've already described.
Sure.
And you could deeply embed that board into a vending machine, for example. So we're seeing vending machines now much more sophisticated than the ones that a lot of us grew up with, where you could do social media on a Coke machine today and gift a soft drink to your buddy, that kind of thing, right? So, that it's requiring a computer somewhere inside of that vending machine. And so they don't want the computer, though, to be obvious, right? They don't want it to add to the form factor. In fact, the form factor of a vending machine is such that you could very easily, maybe up on the top or something, embed the computing unit. And our customers in that area look at a 4x4 form factor and they go, "This is fantastic. It's very easy at the performance I need, scalable up to Core i7 to embed that board in my system." Medical customers are looking at putting and have been putting NUC kits and boards into carts, for example, where once again you're not wanting a large form factor computer, but you need the performance that scales up to Core i7. We're seeing it in medical carts. On the lower end, we're seeing thin client opportunities with the NUC. really, as we look across our embedded marketplace, a number of different segments, kiosks, surveillance, as I mentioned already, signage. We're seeing even in cars, right, in vehicle infotainment type systems. The NUC fits in very nicely in the entertainment console, and can greatly expand the entertainment capability within a car, right? So airplanes, we're seeing the entertainment systems in the headrest in front of you that are touch driven, and as such, we have a few opportunities there where we've got design wins integrating the NUC into those types of systems as well, right? So it kind of runs the gamut. And I think with these smaller form factor computers, we've really opened up what we might call ATM expansion opportunity of being able to get scalable performance in a very tight space. And we're finding that a lot of areas value that. They're changing the way they market their products, and they believe they've expanded the way they can market their products and reach their customers by putting a computer in a vending machine, for example, right? It's really changed the mindset of some of our top customers, looking at these small form factor compute devices, to go basically say, computers don't just necessarily go in the home on people's desks. That's a great place for them, sure, but they can go in places where you didn't really have that thought in the past because technology just didn't allow you to do these things in the past.
Right.
I bet you're saving a lot of people a lot of headache here because before, if you wanted to put computers where there really wasn't a lot of room, you had to hire people, especially if you are a company like a vending machine company. You don't want to hire on specialty IT people to build a computer into vending machines. You don't want to hire them to build computers into things. The smaller form factor, the less they have to worry about developing their own products to fit computers into things. Like you're saving a lot of hair pulling.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so the Intel NUC is way cool. I mean, I'm just kind of blown away with. I was blown away with the compute stick, but then and the NUC also. I mean, they obviously have their definite places and niches. There may be a little bit of overlap, but that's a good thing. But now, and again, I have to ask you this. I asked you this about the compute stick. I'm going to ask you about the Intel NUC. The same question: are there any competing products out there in the marketplace today that would compete with the Intel NUC?
Yeah. So it's there's two answers to that. So first of all, when you look at NUC as a bare bones system, that basically means whoever buys our product needs to do something to that product to turn it into a system. And there are a few other alternatives out there that do it in similar fashion from what we would call our ODM partners. And so you're going to see, if you're a customer that wants to basically take something that's configurable and touch it and customize it, so to speak, to do what you need it to do, you're going to have a few options other than just the Intel NUC. In the mini PC category, you're also seeing a number of systems out there that would, quote unquote, compete with that NUC bare bones that got built into a system. And we're seeing a number of our OEM partners now that have similar sub 1 liter mini PC systems that are out there shipping in the marketplace. We would consider a NUC system as being an alternative in that space, sure. Or that OEM system, right?
All right, that makes sense. So okay, where can a Computer America listener, they must be drooling at this point, get their hands on an Intel NUC, and how much does it cost? Obviously, there are a lot of different configurations. So why don't you go over spending time?
Yeah. So the average listener can go online, and if you're for all sitting here in the United States, we can go online to Amazon or Newegg, right, or Tiger Direct, or your favorite online electronics e-tailer, and more likely than not, you're going to have a number of different NUC and in the future compute stick opportunities to choose from, or SKUs to choose from. The range and prices will be, pretty broad, right? So depending on whether your an Atom processor is sufficient for what you need, you can probably get a pretty good deal at, for a kit at, around $150 or so. Okay. If you're wanting to get Core i3, you're gonna, or Celeron, I guess would be the next step up from Atom. You're gonna be, for the kit, right, over $200, and then if you move into the i3 range, you're going to be in the $200 to $300 range, and then the $300 to $400 range probably for a Core i5 kit. The reason my answers aren't real specific is until we basically offer our product through a distribution network, and then our distributors sell through, and so it's really up to our customers, the price points that they specifically choose. I'm just giving you a rough idea on chip prices, right? Obviously, you got to buy memory and storage on top of that, and so you're probably ranging in your completed price for everything, including the OS, at a minimum of around $200 for a light version, to upwards to $700-800 for a fully loaded Core i7 system.
You really have it across the board, which is wonderful, because you have a pricing for anybody or everybody's need, really. And if you factor in the compute stick that as well, you really have everything covered.
Yeah, we think so. Yep.
Yeah,
and we think it's easy to get too. And so, listeners, I think you'll find it very, very easy to get this type of product, and there's a lot of information online to get all the information you need to make your buying decisions.
Dan, we have less than a minute. Anything else you want to add in that we might not have covered, or something you just want to emphasize?
Nope, I think you've covered it, and I've been in this role and PR'd Intel for 10 years, and just these last couple of years with the NUC and the compute stick, it's really a huge change in the whole landscape, and really exciting times for all your listeners to be into computing these days. Yeah,
exactly. It is. It's amazing. And if you go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com, you click on today's show, we have a link to the Intel website and to the Intel NUC and the compute stick. And you can do more research on your own and see if this is something that you may be interested in. I can't imagine that you wouldn't be. I mean, the prices are make it so affordable for kids, for home, for educational, for small businesses. Between the compute stick and the Intel NUC, I think you have all the bases covered. Dan and John, I want to thank both of you for being here with us tonight on the Computer America Show. Very illuminating and very impressive. And thank you,
Craig and Ben. I wanted to thank you for having us on your show. We really appreciate being on the show. Thank you very much.
And hopefully we'll have you back again soon. All right. Take care, gentlemen. Have a good evening. Thank you again, and good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. All right. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network. Ben and I have computer and technology news brought to you by Slim Mobility coming up. Stay with us. We'll be right back. This is the Computer America Show.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello, and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And there you go, Intel on the program. Every month we have them on the show, talking about this evening about the compute stick and the Intel Mini PC NUC, next unit of computing. Just two amazing. I mean, who wouldn't think that you would have not a water, but a full-fledged computer on something that's no bigger than a flash drive?
Yeah, it's like Moore's law is just showing its stripes more and more every year, every day, and Intel obviously kind of one of the leaders in Moore's law. And hey, things get smaller, more powerful, faster, more heat efficient, and this is one step in a long line of great innovations.
Absolutely. Well, again, you can if you want to see more about it, we have a link on our show notes page at computeramerica.com. Just click the show notes button, and you can see more about everything that we talked about tonight here. I see we have a number of new chat room participants. Welcome to the Computer America Show chat room. Let me just say that before we start our news, that if you have a comment, question, or suggestion, you can give us a call. We're opening up the phone lines now, 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881, and that'll get you on and get you through. Email is live, L-I-V-E, at computeramerica.com. Great way to get your question in if you don't want to go on the air. You can also join us in our live interactive chat room. Just click the chat room /video button on our homepage. It'll on the left-hand side there, you get the registration form. So you just put in a username. That's the name you'll be known by in there. Click the connect button, and you are in the chat room. And also, at the same time, you will see the live Computer America video streaming page. That's right. You can not only watch the Computer America show, you listen to it, you can also watch it. That's right. We have live Computer America video streaming, so you can do that as well. And just another way for you to participate on the Computer America program. Again, thanks to Intel for being with us here, and we look forward to having them back again next month. So, anything else you want to mention or talk about before we go to our news portion of the program?
Just a quick shout out to last night with Josh Boykin. I didn't realize that he actually came up with the topic on his own, but it actually fit in really well with this month's theme. Every month we're going to try out a theme. Not every show is going to pertain to it exactly, but we're going to try to focus on it. And this month is, of course, financial awareness. That's why we had the gentleman talking about small business taxes, which was actually more entertaining than it sounds, I promise. We've had other companies on talking about how to get your finances in order. And last night, our gaming show was all about gaming on the cheap, which is, making your gaming dollar stretch further. So I didn't realize it until I woke up this morning. I was like, oh, wait, yeah, that actually worked. So, but other than that, no, that's it. I'm excited to do some computer and technology news.
All right. Well, let's do that right now. Tonight's Computer and Technology News is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. Everything at slimwareutilities.com is completely free. All the utilities, you download them all. They do exactly what they say they do. They'll clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. We highly recommend that you download all of them. Why not? They're free. And use them all, or use them when you need it, because you'll be happy that you did, and when you need it, especially when you need it, and you'll thank us for it. slimwareutilities.com. And the first story of tonight, this kind of tickled me a little bit. It's from the Washington Post, and it actually explores a bigger issue. But I mean, we can kind of start off with this. Evidently, there was this chess grandmaster.
Well respected.
Yeah, well respected. Gayaz Nigalides. Okay.
I dare you to say that 3 more times.
Nigalides. And anyway, he was a grandmaster. He began playing chess evidently in 2007, and that was, by the way, coincidentally that the first iPhone was released. Okay, well, he evidently would every so often would reply to his opponent's move, and then literally run to the men's room. Okay, and evidently the Armenian grandmaster Tigran Petrosian said, quote, "I noticed that he would always visit the same partition, which was very strange since the other partitions weren't occupied."
Yeah, he would immediately respond to a move in chess, and then he'd immediately say, "Oh, I'll be right back. I have to use the restroom," and then he'd always run to the exact same stall every time.
I find it unusual that Tigran would follow him to the men's room, and note
Well,
that.
you'd think after 3 or 4 times, like, did he eat a bad burrito, or is he up to something?
That's what I would think. I would just think, he had an upset stomach or something. I wouldn't follow him into the men's room and watch him. I mean, that's a little hinky. That's a little weird.
Well, he had a reason why he was running to the bathroom every so often, and that was
but evidently the officials inspected the interior of the toilet stall that he was visiting, and they found an iPhone wrapped in toilet paper and hidden behind the toilet. So okay.
Again, this is a chess grandmaster. This is not for regionals, and this is the local school, doing this. This is the highest echelon of chess champions.
Yeah, but do they go and expect bathroom stalls, and look behind the toilet?
These are tournaments. They're worth multiple thousands of dollars. Why wouldn't they?
All right. Well, evidently, so they confronted him, and he immediately denied that he owned the device. Okay, yeah, but evidently the officials opened the smartphone and found it was logged into a social networking site under Nagaladze's account. They also found his game being analyzed in one of the chess applications on the phone. So basically, they said, "You're out." They expelled him from the tournament, which is still ongoing and features more than 70 grandmasters from 43 countries competing for a first place prize of $12,000. Anyway, this guy's career is now in the toilet, I guess, or at least either under that or under the microscope. His 2 national titles are also now under suspicion, and under recently tightened rules against cheating, he could be banned for up to 15 years.
Good riddance.
Yeah, but evidently the scandal threatens to spread far beyond. This took place, by the way, in the Dubai Chess and Culture Club, which is shaped like a giant rook. I
expect nothing less from Dubai.
Yes, I know it should have been giant queen, I would think, or a knight. Anyway, his expulsion is a nightmare scenario for chess. Proof positive that technologically enabled cheating, and this has been rumored for more than a decade, is now pervasive because the devices are so small now. I'm surprised, that he should have had a Bluetooth headset in his ear. Why run to the men's room?
I think the Bluetooth headset would have been a little bit too typical 90s movies, with the earpiece and spelling bees and that kind of thing. But it's not that they're smaller. It's just they're more pervasive. And, he had everything he needed to beat other grandmasters in an application on his smartphone.
Yeah, I mean, the today's Bluetooth headset, they can make them so small that they fit inside.
How are you going to control a phone through your Bluetooth headset, Craig?
Well, he can have the phone, but and just control, or voice commands,
So he's going to sit there and he's going to tell it what to do. That's not suspicious at all. Craig, there's a reason you're not cheating grandmaster right now.
Okay, well,
that would not work.
I'm sure that if I was devious enough, I could come up with a way to do it. I'm sure there must be today. But anyway, according to this, basically, thanks to smartphones and devices like them, the game of kings, which is chess, is starting to look more like a game of crooks. So now again, an English chess grandmaster was quoted saying the basic problem is that it's incredibly easy to cheat with a phone. He says you can have some application running on your phone, and it's quite easy to conceal. He says my dog could win a major tournament using one of these devices. He says, or my grandmother. Anybody could do this. He said, a friend of mine recently joked that his mobile phone will beat Magnus Carlsen, Short said, referring to the Norwegian chess prodigy who is the world's #1 player. He says, I said, what are you talking about? My microwave could beat Magnus Carlsen. Evidently, there's an issue. Smartphones are threatening to ruin the sport. And, you know, now there's another...
Well, in a game of strategy, when you have things like smartphones that are connected to the internet, and then on the internet there's pretty much every game ever played, and then there's every permutation of every game that could be played of chess. You know, chess is a very fixed, rigid, and although strategic, you know, there's only so many moves you can do. Now, you know, what used to take Deep Blue, which was a modern marvel, nowadays, you know, they were talking about the microwave, but really it's, you know, smartphones, tablets, computers. They're so powerful that, you know, beating a grandmaster in chess is, you know, easy for a computer. It's laughable how easy it is with a computer. So in a game where I hate to see, you know, because chess has been around for, you know, 1,000, 1,200 years, something like that. It's been around for a long, long time. And it kind of stinks to see, you know, something that's been so great stick around. And I learned to play chess when I was like 3 or 4 years old myself. But you know, at this time, why bother playing chess anymore? Because you cannot get better than a computer. You can get better than other people, which I guess is still the appeal. But to get better than a computer is impossible.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the point where you're right. I mean, computers now can beat the best grandmasters out there. You know, I mean, that was the turning point with Big Blue. That was the critical point, and now.
It's okay that, you know, you can think 5 or 6 moves ahead of your opponent, and you can know what he's going to do before he knows it. That's all perfectly well and fine. Good, you're a beautiful human being. But a computer knows every single move that you're going to do, and every resulting move of that move, and every resulting move up to the end of the game, regardless. Like they're going to get you into checkmate in 143 moves. They know what's going to happen. There is literally no way to beat that.
Yeah. The next thing, I think the next game that they're going to have to try is, are you familiar with the game called Go?
Yes, Go. Yes, that's Chinese, I believe.
And evidently, Go makes chess look like, you know, dominoes. I mean, it is an extremely complex game with far more permutations than chess has. So I guess that would be the next thing. The only thing is that Go doesn't have the stature of chess. I think that's the only difference.
It doesn't have the mass appeal that chess has, because chess is, you know, honestly, you can thank Hollywood, because Hollywood has a lot of movies wrapped up in chess. It's a very common and easy to learn game. Go, it's probably more popular over in, you know, China, where it's originated from. My personal favorite is shogi, and then there's, of course, Chinese chess. There are other strategic games that I think, though, at the end of the day, if you really wanted to create a program to play these games and map it out, I don't think even those would be safe. Honestly, like, think about what we're doing. You know, we have sequenced the human genome. We have replicated space, time, energy, and matter in a computer program. We have done all these things. What chance does Go have to stump a computer? It's too late. You know, strategy is no longer for people.
All right. So in other words, but we'll always have human-to-human competition. But as you say, it makes cheating easier to do with smartphones and what have you. But although I would say, you know, if this is such a problem, I don't know why they just don't ban them from the tournaments. You can't have a smartphone, and you can't be anywhere near it. You know,
there's a reason he was hiding it behind a toilet.
Yeah,
I 100% guarantee you're not supposed to have a smartphone.
Okay, but he would run out and access. So
yeah,
we'll just have to make it more stringent. You know, no bathroom visits during a tournament. Or they have to be supervised.
Well, you were like, why are they having, you know, police officers, you know, search the stall? Well, this is one of the things they're doing to prevent it. And like, you can prevent or you can protect the integrity of the sport as much as you can, but I think at the end of the day, you know, there's this cap that's you can be the world's best chess champion, you can be, you know, you can win X amount of tournaments, you can do this, you can do that. You can be the best person at this game, and that has some appeal, but you have to know at the end of the day, you're never going to be the best at this game because there's always going to be computers.
Yeah.
Which I think takes away from it. You know, I still like playing chess. I'm in no way the best. There are people at Barnes & Noble who would just, you know, kick me from one side of the floor to the other, and it was still fun to play. It's just, I think the days of giant chess clubs might be coming to an end.
Yeah. A little history here that I thought was interesting in this article. Did you know that in the late 18th and 19th century, there was a chess machine called the Mechanical Turk? I actually had not heard of this. It became a sensation in Europe. It was an automaton, appeared to be capable of beating skilled opponents, most famously including Napoleon. He got beat with this, but the machine was, in fact, a fake. A human chess player hid inside and manipulated the machine's every move. So he had to be a pretty good chess player. Now, in the 20th century, chess was a yardstick used to measure the advance of computers. In 1996, world champion Garry Kasparov defeated IBM's revolutionary supercomputer Deep Blue. He did. He beat it. You know, I remember watching the event. It was like the Super Bowl. You know.
Wow, you must have been really cool back in the day.
Yeah, I did. And you didn't watch it? You were around. Oh, well, how old were you in 96? You could have watched it.
96? I was like 5. I was currently getting my blocks in order the way they needed to be.
Okay. Well, a year later, Kasparov stormed off a television set in New York City in defeat. In other words, it came back again. He later claimed he had been cheated, arguing, ironically, from today's perspective, that the computer had received human help. It did not. Kasparov's May 11, 1997 defeat was billed as a blow for humankind, demonstrable proof that after centuries of technological progress, machines had finally surpassed their creators, at least at chess. The argument, by the way, with that was that the way it beat Kasparov, this was the subtlety. They said, yeah, it beat him, but you know what? It did it via brute force methods. It didn't. At those days, Big Blue was not an elegant system. It basically, as you said, it would look at every single possible move, and through brute force finally beat him. Where grandmasters actually don't play that way. They dismiss so many moves because they're just not
because chess is a game of strategy. They want to kind of set up traps. They want to set up trades. They want to set up positions and stuff like that. And computers back in the day, they really didn't, they didn't fall for a trap because they knew if I took this, they take that kind of thing. Like, there's no human error, which is so common in chess.
Yeah. So there it is. Now the cheating scandal continues on. I mean, chess didn't arrive at its current conundrum at all at once. There have been suspicious signs all the way. At the 1993 World Open Chess Championship, a newcomer with dreadlocks, headphones, and a bulge in his pocket drew one game with a grandmaster and defeated another highly ranked player. But when he was questioned by a tournament official, he didn't seem to have a basic knowledge of the game. Okay, he was using some sort of electronic device. In 2002, an American player was accused of checking computer simulations in the bathroom during a tournament. And in 2006, an Indian chess player was caught communicating with an assistant using a wireless device sewn into his cap. Okay.
See, Craig, people have been trying for a very long time. I actually like what one of our guests in the chat room said. He said that, if people are going to cheat, then you just have to out-cheat them. You have to feed them false information, or you have to, know what their app they're using and counter it with better technology. That sounds a lot like chess. Knowing what they're going to do ahead of time, and then go ahead and beat them because you know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like chess to another degree.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, that's the basic crux of the story. They caught this guy, this grandmaster, and he's been ousted. His one of the judges and overseers of the tournament felt that the punishment should be more harsh, than just banning him for 15 years. But it is a problem. It really is a problem.
If anything, they should probably strip his titles, or at least the ever dreaded asterisk. But yeah.
Well, there's no way of knowing that he cheated on the other. Because he won a couple other tournaments, a couple of years.
I think that if they're really looking to crack down on cheating, they just have to kind of say, we're not going to look for proof that you cheated back then. If you cheated now, we're going to assume you cheated then, and we're going to take your titles. Like that. If they want to play hardball, I think that's a good hardball line.
Well, that's what we do with the Olympics. They finally catch one of the athletes, on steroids or something, and they not only take away the gold medal that he or she won, they take it away for the past 4 years. With they strip them of all titles that they had. So it's very there. And so if the Olympics can do that, it would be extremely harsh. I don't see why chess tournaments should be the same way.
Well, because I hate to be blunt about it, chess fans, but people don't care about chess.
They don't?
Nope.
Oh, you kidding? I mean, I watched a documentary that talked about Fischer. That when he was Bobby Fischer, and how he came back in his later years and everything. It was a very interesting documentary. And people were impassioned over. I mean, you're too young to remember, but when Bobby Fischer went to Russia and beat the it was like it was a national pride thing. Everybody.
And so was the Miracle on Ice, and so was yada yada yada. I mean, like, I hate to say it, people don't care about chess. And think about this: of my generation, I am actually a very devout chess follower. Like, in my generation, I like chess. I play chess all the time. I've played it for a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't care about chess. Like, honestly, I think chess as a sport is kind of going away.
Do you think that's a sign of the times, or the sign of the technology, or
why would you sit around and play chess when you have, a computer with Call of Duty in front of you? Why, like, chess is so lackluster. Chess needs to catch up. Put some guns and CGI and special effects and explosions in chess. Come on.
Well, they do have battle chess. Remember that? Do you remember battle chess?
No.
Yeah, battle chess. You were playing chess, but each piece when you moved would fight and have battles again, to do it. So it's called battle chess. Again, probably before your time. All right, well, that's that story. So what else we got?
Well, cheating chess people to cheating nature. This one's going to get a little bit weird. I know GMO is, not exactly the cleanest of words. People tend to hate it for some reason. Personally, kind of see it unfounded. But this next story, though, is from Wired, and apparently it's a whole lab of people devoted to getting milk. Now you're thinking, well, but Ben, the Amish have been getting milk for a long time now. It didn't take them a lab with scientists. Well, these particular scientists are after milk that has not come from a cow. And then the ultimate purpose of said milk is to make cheese that is vegan. It does not come from a cow, does not hurt a cow, does not, ever touch a cow's body. Vegan cheese. Yeah,
the definition of vegan, basically, if you it's beyond vegetarian, right? I mean,
makes vegetarians look sane.
Yeah, the follower of veganism is known as a vegan, and basically there are different categories of veganism, but basically it has to, like, for example, you can only eat a vegetable if it falls off the tree. You can't pick it from the tree, because then you murdered the vegetable.
That's again an even stronger version of vegan. That's an even rarer form of vegan if we're treating this like some kind of safari.
Maybe I'm thinking of a fruitarian.
Yeah, you're thinking of a fruitarian, but vegan, the way I had it explained to me, I had a friend who was vegan, and she explained it to me as if it comes from anything that had a face, they can't eat it. So not only can they not eat chicken, but they can't eat, let's see, not only can they not eat like chicken, they can't eat eggs because it came from a chicken. They can't eat steak, but then they can't drink milk because it came from a cow. Like vegans, like they can't eat anything that has has directly or indirectly come from an animal.
Did you say? I mean, that sounds like kosher. I mean, for example, you can have meat, but you can't drink the milk. You can't have milk with meat because
you can't even eat the meat.
Because see, kosher says you can't.
Yeah, kosher is a different stringent, more into the religious side, but also sanitation, the way it's prepared. Vegan is just if it comes from an animal, or or a product of an animal, you can't eat it. So this is where the story comes into play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're trying to create they're biohacking, and we were just talking about this Monday where we had what was her name?
What?
Truponics, the company we had on Monday.
We had Nutribox.
Nutribox, yeah. Anyways, they're biohacking, but this is biohacking in a different way. They're scientists who are taking mail-ordered DNA and they're tricking the yeast cells into producing a substance that is molecularly identical to milk. And if successful, they'll turn this milk into cheese, real cheese, but vegan cheese.
So in other words, this is going to be a food product that does not come from an animal.
It's biohacking. They're taking yeast and then they're changing around the DNA to make milk, and then the milk turns into cheese. Never came from a cow, never touched a cow, never caught sight, didn't even get poured onto a cow. This milk is completely animal free.
No, they say using mail order DNA. What the heck is mail order DNA? You send away for DNA and
you can order yeast in the mail.
Okay. So, and they're tricking these yeast cells into producing
milk
that's molecularly identical to milk. Okay.
Because if it looks like milk, sounds like milk, tastes like milk, pours like milk, why not? Why is it not milk? Does it have to come from a cow to be milk?
So this is real vegan cheese. Okay.
Yep. So they again, this is kind of following along with Moore's law that we talk so much about. Just like the first time that they sequenced the human genome, it cost billions of dollars. Nowadays, you can even go to a website and for a couple $1,000s get your own personal DNA sequence. It's not that hard to do, and and manipulating and creating new DNA is in no way expensive or prohibitory anymore. Like pretty much, it's the researchers out there tells you how to do it step by step. It's quote unquote easy to do for people in the lab. I don't think people in your kitchen can do it yet, but this is what this lab is focusing on. They're trying to make milk, turn it into cheese, and there you go. They have this whole lab dedicated to it. They really want to, like, their main focus right now is real vegan cheese, but in the future they want to work on things such as other forms of meat, other forms of dairy, other forms of really anything that they're trying to take away the ethical dilemma of all this, of the entire industry, and just turn it into, hey, it's the same. Why not eat vegan if it's just not coming from cow?
All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Ben and I are doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. We've got a news tips, polls, and review coming up as well. Don't go anywhere. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
What, am I keeping you up late? This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time the Cantech Mobile Printer Stand. We got in the Cantech Mobile Printer Stand for review, and the first thing we need to do is to deal with the M word, mobile. This is not a printer stand for your car, and it isn't for your mobile gear. It's a printer stand, and it has casters, so it's mobile. But let's get more to the point. It's built short, so even with a printer up top, it can scoot under a desk and work from there most to all of the time. You can assemble it to be just under 12 inches or just over 14 inches tall, as your printer height, your desk height, and your preferences may require. There's a shelf underneath for paper or supplies or whatever, and slots on the back edge to help wrangle the cables. It can handle printers up to 75 pounds on its 17 by 13 inch top. Bottom line, the Cantech Mobile Printer Stand frees up space from your desktop, cabinet top, or credenza to put your printer under many desks or work tables with room for it to scoot. This is Marty Winston with the News Tips and Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour here. We're doing computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimware Utilities. First hour, we had Intel talking about their NUC and their mini PCs. Very, very cool products. And the Compute Stick, both mini PC form factors. Very cool. You should check them out. And they said next week sometime that you can check them out in stores. They're going to be distributing them. So definitely, head into your local Best Buy or whatnot and check it out. Best Buy, Fry's, what have you.
The NUC you can actually get now. It's on Newegg. A lot of the where you normally buy your computer components and everything, they're selling them now.
Yep. So, but yeah, no, we're doing computer technology news, and I just wanted to finish up with this this milk story, as Craig calls it, this cheese story. It's one thing that was kind of cool is that they're trying to create food that's vegan, and in the way that you can eat it, and it would be genetically identical, and molecular. The other one, identical to every other ordinary food product. It just wouldn't have the ethical dilemma behind it. So if they grew a steak, with the muscle tissue in a lab and all that kind of thing, and made a steak for you, made a beautiful looking ribeye, vegans could eat that. It never hurt a cow in any way. It never hurt a stem cell. It didn't hurt anything. It's all it's all grown in a lab.
You realize, though, that the first products, or even maybe even the second generation of these products, are not going to be, as you say, a beautiful ribeye, or it's going to be probably something that's packaged in a very non-appealing manner.
You say that, but hey, it just takes someone from the marketing side to get in on it, because the scientists, they're not going to make it look like a robot. That's going to be in the marketing. But I digress. That's not really the point. One of the cool things that they're talking about here is they wanted to not only engineer cheese from cows, because yes, that's very easy to do and it's very common to what we know, but apparently they can also sequence cheese from other sources. They said that they are even able to make human vegan cheese.
Yeah, that's right. Because the idea behind the human thing is that people who have lactose intolerance, they can't eat cheese or milk products from animals.
From cows or goats. Yeah.
But with the human factor, they can. There's less of a chance of it having allergic reaction to it. And
there's a certain.
It sounds icky, when you first.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. There's a certain ick factor to it, because when you think breast milk, it's like, that's for nursing babies. That's not for people. Ew, that's gross. I don't know who that came from. But at the end of the day, it didn't come from anyone. It came from a lab. And if it lets someone who wants to eat cheese but has allergies out the wazoo, it's going to let them eat cheese.
But then why do they want to engineer cheese based on the milk of a narwhal?
Yeah, I think it's because, again, this is all an independent lab that's really working on this. And by the way, they chose cheese just because it resonates really well with their whole little community group there, and also going back into history, cheese making has been very, very fundamental. But they want to make it, they even want to use a narwhal to create cheese, and they just want to show that, hey, we can take really any sample of DNA and turn that into milk and turn that into cheese. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where we get it from, what we're doing. We can do anything. We can do what we want. And
well, this still hits me as being kind of odd. I mean, look, there are vegan cheeses. I don't know if you know this, that are made from plants, and but they don't taste very good. They don't taste anything like the cheese. It seems to me everything that they tried to make artificially tastes artificial. Ben.
Okay, wait. The difference here is that this isn't a cheese substitute. This isn't like cheese. Molecularly,
Yeah.
This is cheese.
That's the only thing.
If you look under a microscope, this is cheese.
Yeah. If it is the same identical molecular structure, then yes. But it's like wine. The cheese has such subtle flavors to it that makes it. I mean, you can take Swiss cheese. You can have from 10 different places that make, and some will be really good, and some will taste like
But I think also that's more of the curing process. It's not, or the it's not really the source of the milk. It's more the production of the cheese.
Yeah, I mean it's like that with butter. I mean you can have butter, and then you can have butter that comes from Ireland or Scotland, gives a Kerrygold. That's just amazing stuff. It's all the same thing, but it's just the different animals and what they're fed and the environment makes changes that we as human beings can detect. It might not show up in a test tube, but boy, you can taste the difference. And I guess that's my main concern. If it truly is the biological, identically biological, there are so many other subtleties that have to come into play.
I don't think there are, though. I think really they can break down the difference between all of these into the amount of milk fat, into the amount of sodium, into the amount of blah blah blah. Like, it's this is science here. This isn't guesswork. They know the difference between good cheese and bad cheese.
Yeah, but cooking
on a scientific level.
I don't think cooking is a science. Cooking is an art form.
Cooking is totally a science. What are you talking about?
I think cooking is an art form. The way you
the article that we're getting from, again, this is from Wired. The particular author who actually went to this lab to check all this out was Marcus Holson.
Mhm.
And they mentioned that sometime in the future, this is not going to be in 10 years or 15 years, but sometime in the future, what happens when you have I go back to Star Wars because it's what I know. What happens when you have a replicator and you say, okay, tonight I want lamb, and it gets DNA and it sequences it and it recreates lamb for you right then and there.
Yeah.
And this is going to happen. This is not can or could happen. This is going to happen. You're going to have little labs in your kitchen feeding you what you want.
I don't doubt it. I'm just going to say we still have a long way a road to
Oh, no doubt. But this is why it was so exciting, is that they're figuring it out faster and faster.
All right. Okay. Well, I don't disagree. I just think it's going to be many years before we do this. Now the cheese thing, that sounds interesting. Did they say, is it going to be Swiss cheese? Is it going to be Gruyere cheese? What kind of cheese is it going to be that they're going to make? Or they didn't get into that?
Didn't get into that.
Okay. Well, these are how many kinds of cheese are there in the world right now? I mean, it's countless. There must be hundreds of thousands of types of cheese, each one with its own unique flavor. So they've got their work cut out for them. Okay, we continue on. Ben and I are doing computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And this next one is from Bloomberg Business. Evidently, we crossed a line when it comes to fossil fuels, because fossil fuels just lost the race against renewables.
Now, I kind of want to do that story because the title is grossly misleading.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's all about the projected gigawatts of power that you could get from all these different sources.
Yeah.
On the fossil fuel side, you have oil, gas, and coal, and on the clean energy, you have hydro, nuclear, solar, wind, biomass, and geothermal.
Mhm.
And it's only counting what you can expect to get, but let's say solar and wind, really you only have 20% efficiency as compared to what the actual label says that you're going to get.
Mhm.
So it says that clean energy is producing more electricity than fossil fuels just this past year. Not entirely true. It's forecasted to produce more, but what it actually produces is actually less. So there's a key difference there. But this whole article in general was just showing a trend that it is good. That I don't want to downplay the importance of these clean energies, but at the same time, this article from Bloomberg was a cautionary tale. Don't believe the headlines as you see them. Every year it's the end of the desktop PC. Every year it's the year of Linux. Every year it's so-and-so. And this year, once again, they're claiming clean energy has outperformed fossil fuels. Not quite true, but it's going to happen eventually. So, yeah.
This isn't the year of Linux? Don't tell Marcel Gagne that. He's going to be
Every year's the year of Linux. Well, who am I kidding?
Marcel Gagne, by the way, our Linux expert, is going to be on tomorrow's show, our all Linux show. So don't miss that one. So the point of this whole article is that basically you can test the article. You're saying it's misleading. Fossil fuels did not lose the race against renewables. Is that what you're saying?
They did not. No.
See, you can never believe what you read.
But how you can even believe me? I mean, this is Bloomberg here. Why would you believe Benberg? That's But at the end of the day, don't believe everything you read. But I'm not saying that clean energy will outstrip fossil fuels one day. I'm just saying at the moment, we're not so lucky.
Okay, well, I'm still waiting for nuclear fission, not fusion. Fission.
And the rest of the community is waiting for you to get the word nuclear right.
Nuclear. Okay.
I don't know where you're getting the extra U from. There's no such thing as nuclear.
Nuclear.
There you go.
That's what I said.
You said nuclear.
I just want to make sure you were paying attention.
I'm always paying attention.
All right. So what's the next story? What do you want to do?
Next story. I really wish I had more time to read up on this particular one, but I'm gonna skip over that one. How about this one? We hear a lot about drones and their success stories.
Yeah, or failure stories, quite frankly.
But this one's a failure story.
Yes, it is.
So this is from popsci.com, and the author Kelsey D. Atherton. And apparently an asparagus, yes, you read that right, asparagus delivery drone caught fire in the Netherlands. So, drones offer a lot of potential farmers, from shining lights on crops at night to better tracking down how well they're grown. And, well, apparently some farmers decided that drones were for more of a novel purpose, carrying the crop itself straight to the restaurant. And it was supposed to be a little gimmicky kind of deal, and a unique way to start off the harvesting season. But then the drone kind of caught fire. So the stunt was meant to garner attention from Dizwan restaurant, which apparently has a tradition of flashy entrances for the start of asparagus season. Didn't know people were that excited for that green vegetable. So apparently drones can be quite the gimmick, and but not always without peril. And apparently last winter, I think I remember reporting on this one, TGI Fridays flew mistletoe drones over customers' heads.
Yes, they did that.
Yeah, we remember that one. And apparently it injured a photographer.
Because he tried to kiss the drone and it zapped.
Not quite, but yeah, because they're guided by people, and people aren't perfect. So anyways, perhaps the greatest drone gimmick of all comes from Netflix, which in 2014 made a video full of explosions, mocking the very essence of gimmick drones. So, but yeah, apparently there was a drone delivery system for asparagus, and it crashed and burned, literally.
We're seeing drones appear more and more. I saw a commercial the other day for an automobile, and it dealt with drones, and it showed people all running to get in their cars to get away from the drones, and only the one guy who had the car of choice, was able to get away from them. They were chasing the people.
Yeah, like I can't help but feel like the media in general is really pushing these drone stories, if anything, to just kind of get you warmed up to the idea of, hey, drones aren't as scary as you think they are. I don't think the public, especially with the entry into the hobbyist space for drones, I don't think the public's really that scared of drones anymore. They're because they know what it is.
Well, it all depends who's steering it. I mean, I watched an episode of Hawaii Five-0 a couple of months back, and there was about this.
Hawaii Five-0 does more to scare and inform you than any other TV show.
That's right, and they got the drone had automatic guns and just shot them down and killed people. But it's not the drone; it's the guy behind the drone that was doing it. Obviously, so it's not the drone.
What about the day when drones are autonomous?
Yes, then you really don't have to worry. All right. Let me do this. This is a short story, but this is interesting because one of the things as an iPhone user that you've had privy to, Ben, and probably have never used, I've used it a few times because it's kind of cool, is you have Find My iPhone. So if you lose your phone or you don't know where it is, you can go to your computer and say, "Where's my?"
How accurate is it?
Right down to a couple of inches. Literally, it's
really
extremely accurate.
I should look into that because I lose mine in the bed all the time.
Yeah, all you have to do is go to your computer. You have to have it turned on. I think the latest versions now of iOS has it defaults to be turned on. I remember the earlier versions didn't. But one way to make sure that it's on. And if you lose it, just go to your computer and it'll find it. Right down to the a couple of inches to where it is. So it's very useful. Well, anyway, Google felt left out. So they've come up with something very novel called Find My Phone. Okay. It's a Google search, Find My Phone, to locate your missing Android phone. Okay. So evidently, Google is making it easier, to track down your Android phones. Now there is something called the Android Device Manager to help you, find your lost phone or tablet or whatever. It gets a little difficult to do, but the Find My Phone is as simple as a web query. In other words, you just go on, use your web browser, and you go to Google Omnibox. You open a Google Omnibox and say you type in "Find My Phone." You get a map that reveals the phone's current, wherever it is. And if the device is not nearby, you can click a little button that says "Ring," and your phone will ring. And even if it's on silent, it will do that as well. Even if you have your phone muted, because I know, Ben, I don't think you've ever turned your audio on your phone on ever. It's always silent.
Not a fan.
No, it's when people call you, your phone buzzes, they text it buzzes. You do not have. I don't think you've ever used the audio as far. Well, for music you do, but that's about it, right? Other than that, you have no audio. But one of the cool things about, I know for Find My iPhone, and I think for Find My Phone, even though the device is muted, it will still make a ring. Okay, so basically that's how it works. You can, and it's kind of cool. And if you have an Android phone, you feel left out. Google has now made it available, so you can actually find it. There it is. So that's it. That was kind of cool. What else you got?
All right, this next story, real quick, this is from Engadget, and I can go through the entire article here. It was written by Timothy J. Sapala, and it's it kind of struck me because we talked a little bit about it, but we really didn't get into it. Mortal Kombat X came out.
Really?
I want to say Monday for its 23-year anniversary.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat has been around for 23 years. Get that. So, and anyone who has known about Mortal Kombat, they know that it's extremely violent. It's clearly a fighting game. But if you haven't played the last few iterations, I want to say, maybe the past 4 to 5 years, it has gotten so violent and so gory that it is no longer a joke. Like, it's serious. It's serious business nowadays. Just how violent it has gotten, and at this point, it's so disturbing, but at the same time, it's so funny that I think people are, I think they get the joke. It's. Do you know what I'm saying, Craig? Like, they have these cutscenes now where you actually reach in, rip a person in half, stick your head through them, that kind of thing. Like, it's ridiculous how gory and bloody and messy it can get. But there aren't people picketing and rioting just how bad it's gotten. I think at the same time it's that bad, but people enjoy it. They don't enjoy, the gore fest. It's kind of akin to a B-rated horror movie. You know what you're getting into when you get into a B horror flick. It's going to be over the top. It's going to be zany. It's going to be completely uncalled for. And Mortal Kombat, I think, has straddled that line perfectly well.
Well, are you saying that they have this over-the-top violence just as a comedic thing because it could never be that real, and people are planning, oh, haha, that can't really happen?
I think they've gotten so violent, but they've kept the comedy. They've kept kind of what made Mortal Kombat so great is that, sure, it's a fighting game, sure, it's really, really fun, but at the same time, it's still funny. It's still funny to see people who have, their fatalities, their babalities, their combos, that kind of thing. It's exciting. It's an awesome fighting game, but at the same time, it's still funny. And they haven't lost their humor, which is the best thing that they could have done.
Well, humor is important. I mean, but
like, honestly, I wish I could go into some of the fatalities that you can do in this game, but we can't say them on the air. They're that graphic, but they're at the same time they're entertaining. Like, are they gross? Oh, totally, absolutely. They're so disgusting, but are they upsetting? No, not really, not at all, because it's so over the top that you kind of just say, oh, wow.
I think we had something similar to this, and back in my day, or when we were kids, we wanted to do something that we would be shocking to adults. So we had jokes that were basically so disgusting and so bad, but it was just we said them because it got a reaction from people. How could you say that about that? I think it's the same basic mechanism. You want something that's really considered to be horrible or gross and everything, but
I think it's getting a reaction, but it's not just for like, oh, those stuck up adults. It's getting a reaction from everyone, and I think it's really easy to see. So,
is it a good reaction or a bad reaction?
Oh, it's a funny reaction when someone takes your head off, freezes you, throws it at you, shatters you into a million pieces, and stands there. Oh yeah, no, you're like, wow, that can never happen in real life, but that just happened. That was amazing.
Yeah. Maybe it allows us to see these horrific scenarios without consequence. I think maybe that's what it is. It's sort of like, remember when you were playing driving games and you were crashing them and all you had to do is reset it, and then when you get ready to get your driver's license, I said, driving is not like the video game. I mean, if you have a horrific accident, there's consequences. You're gonna get hurt, or you're gonna hurt somebody else. You can't just hit the reset button.
First of all, the fact that you would compare Grand Theft Auto to real life is a completely parent move.
Yeah,
it's very clear the difference between video game and real life. I think only those very few, and honestly, situations where mental health officials need to be involved. Very few cases where video games have corrupted the mind. But yeah, no, it's. I want to say it's a little bit of that, but there are scenarios where even made up, like even real life, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah. I guess so.
And I guess this story is a half warning. Don't go into buying Mortal Kombat and thinking back to your day, 15, 20 years ago of playing it at the arcade and it was your typical button smasher. It's not that anymore. So, be careful.
All right. Okay, well, I think we're pretty much out of time. Again, I want to thank Intel for being here with us in the first hour of the show, talking about the Compute Stick and the Mini PC NUC, or Nuke, depending on how you pronounce it. New unit of computing, and thanks to them for being with us here. And we look forward to having them on the show again with us next month. And of course, at computeramerica.com, check out our contests page so you can enter in our new contest. Our Logitech contest is in full swing.
90 seconds.
And also subscribe to weekly email newsletter, The Show Reminder. You can see all the programs, who's going to be on the show for the entire week. And from that list of subscriber names, we draw a winning name every Friday to win a really nice prize from Logitech, the T650 Glass Wireless Touchpad. So coming up tomorrow night, it's our all Linux show. That's right. Marcel Gagne is going to be here with us. And Marcel always has an interesting bent on Linux and
60 seconds.
And a nice glass of wine while he talks about it. And
by the way, if you have any comments, questions, or your own topics to talk about Linux with, please feel free to call on the show. And Marcel will be happy to answer and discuss them with you.
Absolutely. And bring your own glass of wine too when we talk about it. And again, we'll have a general topic, but we certainly want you to call and interact. If you have any interest in Linux at all, this is the show for you. We have a Linux show, all Linux show every month. So, and we look forward to having you there with us on the program, listening to the show as well. So that about wraps it up. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
10 seconds.
You were muted.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
All right, everybody. Again, thanks for watching. I see a lot of new names in the chat room, by the way. And welcome to the show. And hopefully we will see you tomorrow on our All Linux program.
Welcome one, welcome all.
Yes, welcome all. All right. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Night.